fat loss plate. And then my mom goes, okay, I understand that, but it's still difficult. And I said, well, I haven't said anything yet, Mom. And I said, I want you to ask yourself 2 questions when it's time for you to eat breakfast, lunch, or dinner. And she says, well, okay, I guess I can remember 2 questions. The first question is, Mom, you ask yourself, what am I going to eat for my protein source? And she goes, well, what is a protein? And I said, what do you think a protein is? And she said, chicken wings, but you don't want me to eat chicken wings because you probably want me to eat chicken breasts. I said, no, no, no. You want to eat chicken wings? That is a protein source. We're going to learn how to eat chicken wings. So the first thing you ask yourself is, what am I going to eat for protein? So on a plate, you would have your protein, and my mom likes chicken. Now, the quick and dirty understanding of what a protein source is anything that used to fly, swim, walk around, or crawl is indeed a protein, to include tofu. So chicken, pork, bacon. Give me some additional examples of protein. Fish, turkey, salmon. Those are all protein sources. Tofu, tempeh, those are protein sources. So my mom said, okay, I understand how to get a protein. So if I eat chicken wings, I got that. So what's the second question? I said, the second question is, what type of carbohydrates are you going to eat? Because you want to have some carbohydrates. We like carbohydrates. And to make it easy, I said, Mom, I want you to understand the glycemic. And when I said glycemic, she interrupted me. And she said, that's too confusing. I heard something about this glycemic index, but it was just too scientific and I didn't want to read any more about it. I said, I'm going to make it very easy, Mom. When we look at carbohydrates, we look at them as 2 types. Fast carbs and slow carbs. So we don't have to think about the glycemic index. We don't have to think about the glycemic load. We don't have to think about the glycemic advantage. We don't have to think about glycemic anything except for aside from optimizing our glycemic profile. So fast carbs, slow carbs. She says, okay, well, what does that mean? I said, fast carbs are the carbs that when you eat them, they break down and convert and become sugar in your blood faster than slow carbs. And she got it. And she said, so what is a fast carb? I said, all the things that you like. Yeah. And she said, bread? I said, yeah. She said, pasta? I said, uh-huh. She said, potatoes? All right, you got it. Rice? Uh-huh. Corn? Yeah. Apple? Yep. Okay, so she said, I got my fast carb. And then I said slow carb, and she said, so slow carbs must be like vegetables. I said, yeah and no, because a yam is a fast carb, but it's also a vegetable. So a slow carb will be like leafy greens, broccoli, asparagus. Those are slow carbs. So if you have your protein, your fast carb, and your slow carb, putting those foods together in the right combination will optimize your glycemic profile. That means keep your blood sugar levels even as a result of that meal. So you ate your favorite foods, but you didn't spike your insulin too high. And insulin is a fat storing hormone. So that when you eat a whole bunch of carbs, for instance, at one time without, say, a protein or a slow carb, then the sugar is like a trigger once it hits your blood that tells your pancreas to release insulin. And insulin is a hormone that has a job. And its job is to get rid of all the nutrients floating in your blood and put them somewhere. So we don't want to spike too much of the insulin. And by combining our meal like this, we're less likely to do that. So let me give you an example of how all this works. Over in Africa, they have some huge, huge sweet potatoes. Boom, like this. And it's not, uncommon for someone to eat a huge potato like this. Now, if you eat a huge potato like this, that's all a lot of starch, a lot of sugar. When you eat that, it's like the alarms are going off. I mean, it's like pandemonium. There's going to be so much insulin released and pushed out of your pancreas to get rid of all that sugar, because if sugar stays in your arteries too long, then your arteries tend to rot. And that's when people end up getting like type 2 diabetes and life just isn't working out for us. So when you have that much sugar, then it's not helpful. And when you have that much insulin come out, it's got to go somewhere. So this is what happens when insulin goes out. Let's look at it like this. You guys, let's say we're all working together. You guys are sugar, okay? You used to be that potato. They ate the potato, it broke down, then it assimilated into the blood. And once it got into the blood, it's called glucose. So you guys are my glucose family. You with me? Are you with me, family?
Yes, we are.
Okay, you're my glucose family. Now, it's a lot of us, right? It's a lot of us. So I'm Mr. Insulin. I got a phone call, and they said there's a whole bunch of people over there at the Camarillo Healthcare District just hanging out in this room complaining because they want to go somewhere. They need to get out of the rain, or they need to get somewhere fast. So I come in, Mr. Insulin, and I get you guys together, and I say, okay, guys, we got to get out of here. Okay, we got to get out of here fast. So what we're going to do is we're going to go over to the liver. I'm going to knock on the door of the liver. You guys are all eagerly like waiting, can't wait to get inside. I'm knocking on the door, and finally the liver opens up the door. Now in our liver, we have a form of sugar called glycogen that used to be glucose. So when glucose goes inside the door of the liver, it becomes glycogen. But only so much glycogen could be in the liver, and then it reaches capacity. So when the liver opened up the door, he said, hey, I'm sorry, but you guys cannot come in here because we're packed. There's no more room. Boom, slams the door right in my face. And I say, look, don't be alarmed, you guys. It ain't over. The liver don't have no room, but I know where we're going to go now. So we go over here. I knock on the door of the muscle. And this is exactly the sequence that takes place. So the insulin takes the sugar over to the muscle, knocks on the door, the muscle opens up the door. Because like the liver, the muscle has glycogen in it. So it used to be glucose, so that potato became glucose, then it became glycogen in the muscle. But the muscles can only hold so much glycogen. So the same as the liver, the muscle's like, sorry man, there's no room. We're at capacity. So I turn back to you guys trying to keep a face of hope. And I say, you know what? It's not over yet. Because there's one place I know if we go, they will open up the door and they will give us our own room, flat screen, breakfast in bed. Life will be great. Plush, plush. And what is that place called? The Fat Cell. The big grand hotel that will always open up the door and welcome you in. So I go to the fat, the insulin takes the glucose to the fat because it can't go anywhere else. It can't just stay in your blood, arteries will rot. So I go over there, knock on the door, and the fat guy opens the door, big Italian dude. And he gives me a big hug, kisses me on the cheek. I'm part Italian, so that's not like a negative thing. Gives me a big kiss on the cheek and just says, everybody get your own room. And you know, we got keys in your room, you got a car, you can stay here for as long as you want. You can hook up with each other, multiply, and you can have more kids, and they can have their own like hotel room. And that's exactly what happens and how we end up gaining body fat. So what we want to do is keep our insulin levels even throughout the day. So when you eat that potato, how can I slow down how fast that potato converts over and becomes sugar in my blood? I eat it with a protein. The protein slows down how fast that potato breaks down and converts to sugar. And then if I eat it with a slow carb, leafy greens, asparagus, added fiber, that's going to slow down how fast it converts over also. And so by doing this, I optimize my glycemic profile, my blood sugar levels. I'm eating what I enjoy. I'm satisfied, and I can't wait to eat again.